Well, good morning, and since I'm the first presenter here, I'm going to say welcome to the business show here in Miami. My name is Thomson, and I am the CEO and founder of AI Integrations. At AI Integrations, it is our mission to democratize AI technology for businesses of every size. Over the next 20 minutes, I aim to not only give you guys a detailed breakdown of what AI is, but how you can utilize it as an SME in 2025. We're even going to publicly share some of our cheat codes we've never shared before, so stick around. I want to briefly touch on that real quick. SMEs. Over 90% of our clients are SMEs at AI Integrations. One such SME is Woodshark Co. Woodshark Co. is a company on the Colorado Front Range with over 350 rotating SKUs and 5 employees. They wish to take their retail store online, but they found the burden of SEO and customer service was weighing down their small team. That's where we stepped in. We created 2 digital employees for Woodshark Co. using the techniques I plan on outlining here today that now automate roughly 85% of Woodshark Co.'s customer service and roughly 90% of their SEO work. I can hear you saying, that's great, Spencer, great for Woodshark Co., but what even is AI and why does it matter all of a sudden? To answer these questions, I plan to explain AI through the lens of what I'm going to call the AI Trifecta, and that is that of algorithms, compute, and data. These 3 things combined create valuable AI systems. Algorithms. This is the complex computer code that makes it all work. Companies like OpenAI, Google, Claude, and our Anthropic, Meta, and more are pouring billions and billions of dollars into the R&D of these very algorithms. Compute. Thankfully, the computer industry has come a long way over the past 20 years, and we now have access to very powerful computers that we can utilize to help us build valuable AI systems. Data. This is probably my favorite part of the AI trifecta, as most SMEs do not realize how much valuable data they have. We are living in a digital world, and I would gather that a lot of your business is conducted through a computer. When you do that, it generates unique data to your business. That data, combined with the right compute and the right algorithms, is an AI goldmine. So let's dive in and let's talk a little bit about the algorithms. Like I said, companies like Meta and OpenAI and Google are pouring billions and billions into the R&D of these very algorithms. I personally think some of the greatest minds on earth are working on these algorithms right now. AI and machine learning algorithms are remarkably complex. So thankfully, this part of the trifecta does not mean pioneering AI and machine learning algorithms. It does not mean computer code. What it means is choosing the right AI or machine learning algorithm for your use case. You may have heard of Claude and Google, Gemini, and OpenAI's ChatGPT. These are all different algorithms that all have their own unique pros and cons. On that note, I could quite literally have filled this entire 30-minute time slot talking about the different algorithms and their different benefits. So I'm going to try and keep this next slide brief and hopefully give you an analogy that makes it make a little bit of sense. Choosing an AI algorithm in 2025 is a lot like choosing a car. We have tons of options on the market. Lots of good ones, lots of bad ones, and all the best and most popular options are eerily similar, yet hard to distinguish. We have models that are incredibly efficient, like Gemini 2.0 Flash and GPT 4.1 Nano. These remind me of a Toyota Prius. They get a lot done with very little fuel. We have models that are incredibly powerful, and especially considering their costs. This is a Gemini 2.5 Pro, a Llama 3, a Grok. These models might not be the most refined things in the world, but they're very powerful for their costs. These remind me of American muscle cars like a Mustang or a Corvette. We have models that are incredibly premium. These models are just nice to use on a day-to-day basis and have a lot of features and get a lot of things done. This is your GPT 4.1 Full, your Midjourneys, your OpenAI o3, your Claude 3.7 Sonnet Thinking. These are great models. However, they, like a Rolls Royce, they do come with a price tag. So you might not want to daily drive it for everything. At the end of the day, I would reckon what most of us want is a blend of all 3 of the things I just mentioned, both in the automotive and in the AI world. That's why we see the success of your 4-door German sedans, your BMW 5 Series, and in the world of AI right now, That is your ChatGPT or your OpenAI's GPT 4.1 Mini, your Gemini 2.0 not Flash, and your Llama 3. Or sorry, not your Llama 3. Your DeepSeek R1 V2. These are the best balance of efficiency, power, and premium in the AI world currently for me, my use cases, and my ideas. That being said, I hope you can tell by now, there's different models for different use cases. And just as it is impossible to tell you what the best car in the world is without knowing your use case and your preferences, it is also impossible to tell you what is the best AI model in the world for you without knowing your use case and your personal preferences. With that said, these algorithms need to run on something. And part of what's made this all possible is the advances of the hardware industry. In 2025, we can quite literally rent a computer in the cloud that is 100 times more powerful than a 2015 MacBook for $3 an hour. This, along with other advances from companies you may have heard of like NVIDIA, Apple, AWS, have allowed us to access compute more efficiently as an SME. Whether you're deploying a custom chatbot to handle customer service inquiries, an on-device AI to help your employees get more work done throughout the day, or a full-on logistics systems, these are all different systems and all require different compute. Thankfully, we have plenty of options in 2025. So, real quick, I'm just going to highlight the 3 common ways that these AI systems access computers. The first, foremost, and most predominant by a large margin is going to be cloud computing. And I mean 90% plus of the AI interactions are happening in the cloud right now. This is what happens, and I'm not here to explain cloud computing, so I'm going to make it pretty simple for you. It's renting someone else's computer elsewhere to run your algorithms and your data. This is what happens when you're using any stock AI app from ChatGPT to Meta AI to Grok and more. They're running in the cloud. And as a matter of fact, about 90 to 95% of the systems we've built to AI integrations also run in the cloud. This isn't the only way though. Thanks to advances in modern compute, we now have very powerful computers that we can run on our desktops or even laptops that are available. These computers, when configured properly, are capable of not only getting your daily work done, i.e., your Gmail, your spreadsheets, all that stuff, but they also have the bandwidth to run very helpful AI assistants in the background. This very laptop I'm presenting with runs an AI assistant for me on almost a daily basis while I do all my other work. Lastly, on-premise AI. This is definitely the most technical of the 3 and right now the least common. However, I do see this growing over the next few years. Without explaining servers and firewalls in detail, we can think of this as leaving a computer open at your company so that other computers can talk to it and use it for its computing power. This can be anything from about a $5,000 gaming PC to a $250,000 plus server rack of the latest and greatest GPUs. My point with compute is that 10 years ago, compute was a major barrier for AI, not only in SMEs, but across the board. Now, in 2025, compute is a flexible and elastic resource for us to leverage. Data. This is my favorite part. We can think of data as the air that AI breathes. AI needs data and AI is built on data. AI produces data, AI consumes data. Data can mean a lot of things. This is where most SMEs have immense value, like I said, and they don't even realize it. A non-technical definition of data would be to consider anything that a computer is capable of recording. You could think of it as pictures, spreadsheets, computer code, text documents, anything that your computer can record can be data. And that data, when used properly, like I said earlier, is an AI goldmine. So, when it comes to data and AI as an SME, I think there's 3 questions we need to be asking ourselves. Well, there's more questions. These are the top 3 questions we should ask ourselves. First question, what data do we even need? I think the best way to answer this question is to ask yourself, if I was going to go perform whatever task or job I'm asking the AI to perform, what data would I need? If you're checking your Shopify POS system, the AI system likely needs to check that same Shopify POS system to perform that same task. This ties nicely into our second question. How do we access that data? Do you keep the data in your Shopify POS, like I said earlier? Are all your marketing documents in a Google Drive? Do you keep your financial data locally in a file? These are all different scenarios. Additionally, is that data changing daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, never? All these questions factor into building efficient and effective data pipelines. Lastly, where? Where are we going to store this data? Is this data sensitive information like healthcare, legal, financial data? In which case, you might not want to store it in the cloud. If you do, you better make sure to encrypt it to the highest modern standards possible. Conversely, do you have a database of Yelp reviews and Instagram comments? Might not want to encrypt that to be the digital equivalent of Fort Knox. I can actually give you some very good reasons on why you might not want to do that. It's all relative. When it comes to data, valuable AI systems rely on accurate, accessible, and secure data. Okay, now that I've kind of explained the trifecta through my eyes and hopefully shared some knowledge with you all, I'd like to talk about the possibilities of what happens when we get these three things right. When the data, the compute, and the algorithms are all in balance and seem to line up, it can almost feel like having a digital employee. I want you to imagine handling 80 to 90% of your customer service inquiries instantly, regardless of the time of day, language of the customer, product they're asking about, or even the queue. This is now a possibility we have achieved on dozens of occasions for our clients. We take some FAQ documentation, some product documentation, some website data, and some general brand documentation. We upload it to a GPT 4.1 mini right now, as that's the most balance of efficiency and performance for this use case that's hosted in the cloud, and we embed it on your website. Most of our clients are going to see their average response time for a customer support question drop from over 2 hours to literally under a second. They're going to see a 35% increase in use of that system. It's amazing how much people want to talk to a system that they know is going to reply instantly and they don't have to wait 10, 15 minutes for an answer to. And they're going to automate, again, 80 to 90% of those questions. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to answer 100% of the questions. There will totally be things that it doesn't answer off the bat. However, I would challenge you to say, what employee could answer 100% of the questions at your business? Second, I want you to imagine reducing stockouts at your business by over 50% without hiring any additional employees or spending a ton of money on some crazy fancy platforms. This is a reality we are on track to achieve with one of our clients. We uploaded 2 years of their inventory and POS data to a local device, a powerful desktop computer in this case, and we trained a version of DeepSeek, being it's a mathematically inclined model, to help them do some inventory forecasting and projections. This model is on track to help this business reduce stockouts by over 50% within its first year. No additional burden on the staff, no new employees hired. Third, I want you to imagine creating content for social media, your blog, your product descriptions, etc., effortlessly, 20 times faster than you used to, and with 2 to 3 times the effectiveness you used to. This is a reality we've achieved for multiple of our clients and our own business, actually. We took our own inventory, our own marketing guidelines, our own SEO reports, our own documentation on our brand and our Instagram posts, LinkedIn posts, etc., feeded a bunch of our SEO data and marketing data to a cutting-edge AI model with access to the internet. This AI model has helped us increase our SEO rankings, so much so that we actually rank first on Google for certain search terms. These are just 3 use cases and 3 examples of ways that you can use AI relatively affordably and effectively without that much burden on your business by getting the trifecta right. With that said, I'd like to talk about some pitfalls we see in society right now. With everyone trying to get in on AI, there's definitely people making wrong mistakes. Prompting without data. I think this is actually a funny one with the timing of this conference. Just a quick show of hands, who's seen the action figure Pokemon card trends going around LinkedIn and social media where people are turning themselves into action figures? Okay, less than I thought, but you're gonna have to trust me. It's going around social media right now. People are turning themselves into action figures using a prompt that you can copy paste off of a LinkedIn or a Facebook post. And We're seeing great, cool things with that. However, some people are getting frustrated and they're going, hey, I copied, pasted this prompt into my chat GPT and it didn't work. Why is that? The answer is pretty simple. It didn't have the data. The people that it wasn't working for, 99% of the time, had never uploaded a picture of themselves to chat GPT. Therefore, when it went to make you into an action figure, it had no data to go off of. So your prompt might have been perfect, your model might have been perfect, your compute might have been perfect, but it didn't have the data. Next, on the note of compute mismatch. And this is definitely more of a business side of things. And the first example, the compute mismatch. Quite a few of our clients have come to us and they've said, hey, Spencer, we wanted to build this AI system, but we talked to someone else and we just can't see ROI with this. My response to that is in 2025, it is not very difficult to build an AI system. It is very difficult to build an AI system that is efficient and effective. If you take the world's computing power and throw it at a problem, you're probably going to solve it. You're just going to run up a really big bill while you're at it. And lastly, and I think if you take anything away from our time here today, let it be this. Tune your model and your prompting to your use case. Not doing so and zero tuning of your model and prompting to your use case is going to lead to a lot of mistakes. At our businesses, we have accountants, marketing creatives, and more that help us do different jobs. I know for a fact my accountant approaches their work differently than my marketing person, and that's a good thing. Similarly, we should have models and prompting techniques that approach mathematical accounting style workflows differently than we do for marketing and creative style workflows. Match your algorithm and your model and your prompt to your use case. With that, here's our promised cheat codes. We've never shared it publicly. It's our 5-step framework for integrating AI. First step is going to be to pinpoint a bottleneck. This is a task or a job that, quite frankly, can be easy, it can be hard, it can be something you don't want to do, it can be something that you do want to do, but you don't have the time and money to do. Point is, find something that you want to automate. This can be customer service emails, scheduling, employee onboarding, documentation, inventory counts. You get the idea. Step 2, we want to test that system cheap and fast. Before we go into building you a crazy custom AI system, we want to ask ourselves, is this even possible? I think one of the best ways to do that is to set a budget of roughly 10% of the entire system's costs, and you take that and you take a relatively stock AI model, and you don't hook it up to all the fancy tools and all the fancy data. You might just put a PDF in with your prompt and see, does it even show signs that it's able to do these things? If it's not showing signs of promise without all the fancy tools aren't going to create those signs of promise. They're just going to help you get there if it did show the signs of promise. Third, measure ROI. This is an important one. I've actually turned down a few clients because they wanted to spend $100,000 to automate a $10,000 problem. We're not interested in doing that. I would encourage you not to do that. There's no use in taking the world's computing power and a bunch of AI engineering effort to automate a relatively simple problem. Make sure that it's worth it before you dive all the way in. Then, if you're going to dive all the way in, I think it's an important thing to not only build, but to deploy, tune, and maintain your AI models. I've noticed a lot of my colleagues in this industry tend to hand off their product and kind of walk away and be like, hey, have fun, here's your AI. Well, the thing is, a lot of the best data you're going to get is in that first 14 to 30 days, that 2 to 4 weeks of real world use case. Not us playing with it, your customers playing with it, your employees playing with it. That's when we're going to see the real world use cases. And actually, that's when we do a lot of our best fine tuning at AI integrations. Lastly, after you've gotten these 4 steps correct, I want you to ask yourselves, how can I scale this within the same vertical? Could I not only look at the customer service email and respond, but then maybe add a ticket to send a follow-up email a couple days later from a human employee if they were interested? Just an idea within that vertical. Additionally, I want you to ask yourselves, could we repeat this process in a different vertical within my business? After you've automated something with AI in your business, it flows nicely into automating more things with AI at your business. The point is to start small, test, scale, maintain, and repeat. All right, as I'm sure you can tell by now, I am no public speaking pro, and I'm definitely more comfortable behind a computer screen. However, I've started doing a few of these on our mission to democratize AI and the knowledge around it. I get this question every single time I've done this: what AI tools do I use on a daily basis? Now, this would be a really easy moment for me to shamelessly plug our own tools. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to list the tools that aren't ours. However, it is worth noting I do use my own tools on a daily basis as well. First and foremost is going to be ChatGPT. I want to say ChatGPT is not an AI model. What ChatGPT is a product or platform full of separate AI models within it. There are various AI models within ChatGPT, and my two current favorites are O3 and Deep Research. That being said, Deep Research isn't even really a model. It's more of a product than a product, but we can do questions on that later if you're interested. Second, Read.ai. If you've been doing some Zoom meetings and Google Meets in 2025 and 2024, I'm sure you've seen an AI note taker pop up in one of your meetings. Read.ai is my favorite one of these by a large margin. It takes great meeting notes, so I don't have to worry about it during the meeting. And the thing that sets Read apart for me is after that meeting, it gives me actionable items on how I could better convey my point in the next meeting. Not only does it take notes, it acts as my AI speaking coach. Lastly, Motion. Motion, I will say we've only been using for about 7 weeks at AI Integrations. We've already concluded we love it. We will not be going without it. Motion is an AI-powered project management software and, quite frankly, my AI-powered executive assistant. I no longer manage my own calendar and my own tasks. Motion handles about 95% of that for me. It syncs with my team. It uses AI to make sure we stay on track. And if a team member gets behind, it uses AI and shifts everything around better than I could have in the first place. The point is, a key takeaway from these tools, they don't just save me time, but they also allow me to focus on the work I actually enjoy doing. And to me, that is almost more valuable. Okay, with that said, thank you for struggling through that with me. I've got some gifts for you all and for anyone who's attending the Miami Business Show. So go ahead and take a picture now or scan the QR codes. On the left, you're going to see a 30-day free trial of our AI chatbot. What that is that's that customer service AI that I'm sure you've been on a website and seen in the past. We'll meet with you, and then within 2 days of our first meeting, we'll have a beta version of our chatbot ready for you to test. This will not be hosted on your website. This will be hosted on my website on a subdomain. You can go and test it, and I encourage you, break it, make it say something stupid. I love it when that happens. And then after that, after you're truly satisfied with your chatbot, we'll go ahead and deploy it on your website live for free for 30 days. It's pretty cheap after that 30 days too, but no credit card required or anything. Second is a free 30-minute AI consultation. What that's going to look like is that's going to be myself and one of my AI engineers in a much more intimate one-on-one setting than this right here. It's going to be a video conference, and we're going to walk through those 5 steps that I pointed out earlier with you. We're going to help you pinpoint your bottlenecks. We're going to help you measure that ROI, and we're going to tell you a roadmap for how you might do that. I will say, we do not only point you to coming and working with us. If we think you're able to achieve what you want to achieve without working with us, I promise you I will tell you that. With that said, thank you for your time and thank you for bearing with me. The floor is now open for questions. Anyone? Anyone? Questions? Promise not to bite. Yeah.
Can you ever remind an example of how you have helped any companies with your own company, your AI company?
Yeah, so she asked for some real world examples on how I've helped other companies with my AI company. I think I started off with telling you about Woodshark Co. Woodshark Co. is one of numerous examples. Quite frankly, probably as far as the number of systems, about 80% of the systems we built have been that website chatbot. We do also do custom development, and that is growing as I believe people are realizing the value. But these custom chatbots save about 80 to 90% of those customer service inquiries for dozens of clients across numerous industries, from e-commerce to construction to food and beverage, we've helped them automate roughly 80 to 90% of those customer service interactions. Again, multilingual, it can do it in Arabic, it can do it in Portuguese, you name it, it'll respond. No matter the time of the day, you could have 1,000 products and it's going to know everything about every product. Any more questions? Promise not to bite. I love talking about this stuff.
Do you have solutions for creating a knowledge base out of already the knowledge base that a company has? For example, sometimes we maintain our own wiki or say Confluence, Jira. How do we put those into an AI system and create our own knowledge-based platform where we can ask questions and it gives us an answer based on our documents, but not outside of it. Something like notebook for business.
Yeah. The gentleman asked about turning his own knowledge base into a knowledge base for an AI system. That kind of ties nicely into the whole data question of how, what, how, and where. So if the data is super secure and you've got some financial stuff in there, we're probably going to recommend a local model, quite frankly, by the sounds of it. And that would be a good on-device thing, like a co-pilot on all your computers. You guys can just go through, we'll store all the data locally, we'll store the AI locally. Nothing ever leaves your computers. That's if it's secure. That being said, that's a little, really secure, that's going to be a little more costly. The cheaper alternative would be to take that data, host it in the cloud, and then give you guys a chatbot style UI. Looks like ChatGPT. We can make things that look like that too. Tons of companies are. And we just make a chatbot style UI that allows you to chat with your data live on the internet. Both options we've done and we would love to do again. Further questions? Anyone? There's no bad questions. This is a really weird topic. I get that. All right.
Have you seen any unexpected solutions to a problem with AI?
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite. I'll start off with the question, sorry. What are the unexpected solutions I've seen in AI? This is probably one of my favorite parts of my job right now, is hearing everyone's cool ideas on like how they can use AI. Literally 20 minutes before this presentation, I was talking to a gentleman who's a writer and he wants to use AI to help him source information, but he needs to know the sources. He can't have ChatGPT's opinion. He needs to know MSNBC said X on X date. So I was going through the logistics and the ways to do that. Quite frankly, you can achieve that right now without hiring a company like myself. OpenAI Deep Research is one of those things I mentioned earlier. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't used it, go use it. Just ask it some crazy question that you don't think it's going to get right. It's going to go spend 15 to 20 minutes and it's probably going to get it right. Yeah, go for it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have realized that most AI tools are very reassuring and validating when you ask them something. If you want to make personal, they reassure whatever now you have. But are there any more critical tools?
I missed that last bit. Any more legal?
Critical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we asked about the AI being really nice and its ability to kind of not sugarcoat things. That's, I think, a decent way to look at this. I think the timing of that question is actually perfect. OpenAI themselves just rolled back one of their releases for this very issue. They tried to make their AI super nice and super friendly. And one of the drawbacks of that is it might tell you your bad idea is a good idea. So I would say at AI integrations, we pride ourselves on being very factual and data driven. I'm not going to have your AI telling you to get lost or anything like that, but we definitely err more on the side of facts. And if you want it to be super nice, like our customer service ones that are publicly facing, we train them on the notes of data. There's a bunch of data in the background on how to be a good customer service representative, how to handle an angry customer. We upload books like that into the knowledge base of our AIs. Well, thank you for your time, everyone. I hope I could share some of my AI knowledge.